Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
You will bring jury.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy
They
there.
got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case.
Literally not true.
I didn't ask you to interrupt me. Dati mihi Anglican, please.
Is that correct?
Oh, for crumb's sake.
Welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Happy Tuesday afternoon. Got to check the calendar again just to see. Yes, it is Tuesday the 9th, December 9th. For those of you that are counting the shopping days left till Christmas, basically none. If you wanted to get here on time, you have to do it now. That's it. I'm sorry. That's the bad news. Greeners first in chat today. Thank you very much, Greeners, for being in chat. Thanks for just being here, Greeners. And thanks for being first as well, especially on this solar flare day where anything bad can and probably will happen. Greeners, thanks for stepping up and doing what you need to do to keep the good internet running for us. So thank you very much. Let's go. Don't blame Amazon if we don't get there. Yeah. Think of the poor delivery drivers. Okay, give them a little grace and space to get your delivery done. I have my delivery driver keeps telling me that he's about to show up and please secure any pets so that they don't get attacked by the drivers, because that slows them down, obviously. I only have a cat, and if you ever tried to secure a cat, you don't do that. You don't try to secure a cat, especially an attack cat like mine, an outdoor attack cat. But we need to try to at least keep him well fed before the driver shows up. We're going to go back to court here in just a minute. Hopefully we get a little fuzz off my mic for one thing. Hopefully we get the DNA expert to actually testify to tell us what we want to hear instead of just what work was done in the lab. I realize it's important. Chain of custody is a very important thing, but man, if there were a way you could streamline this process to go in from swab to results with one person, sign me up. Sign me up. I could care less about the robot one. I could care less about the rest of it. Just vouch that all of it was done, and there's documents to back it up. And if we want to fight it, we can go to the documents. But don't fight it without good cause. This has just been a big investiture of time to get to this point. My cat is an inside cat. He just runs and hides when the doorbell rings. Tried to be first, but I think I was number 76. Tony Green, that's basically first. You missed the witness right before lunch, cauliflower. No, you didn't. You might not have heard it, but trust me, you didn't miss it. The witness right before lunch was basically the same as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 witnesses before her. We are still waiting for Saman Salim, who we think will be the final witness in the DNA chain, who will give us all the numbers. But yeah, basically, we got DNA that was submitted from the crime scene, right? From the people who actually did the swab on the scene, that got to the crime lab, and all of it was processed. It was, at least the ones they processed, were all done properly. They expanded, they separated it out, they made millions of copies using the robot machine, they got it all ready for analysis, and it's ready for the last guy to do his work now. And part of that, the samples that they did that to were 2 buccal swabs, or buccal swabs, from Brian Walshe and Anna Walshe. And so we have their profiles, and that those were successfully copied and replicated, so they're now suitable for comparison. That's where we are right now. And it took a lot of people to get there. So there's a lot of people on this DNA bus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, Judge Simpson. How you doing? I don't need to hear that right now. In the meantime, how did they get the buccal swab from Anna? It was on file. The FBI had it. I'm not sure why. But they came from the FBI. Probably from something prior federal. I don't know why Anna would be in there with the art case. Which I thought it didn't really involve her. She wasn't sentenced or charged, I don't think. Are the fans controlled by a spinner, or does maintenance have to drag out a ladder to change the settings? I think it's that little tiny chain that's hanging down on the right-hand side. I like to think it's the ladder. I think it's the ladder. The judge says, hey, can you adjust the fans? The maintenance guys, be right on it. Brings out the little giant. The FBI probably has it for her D.C. job. It wasn't a federal job, was it? It was just property management. Hey, what's up, bud? You're going to have to do something other than sign language because I'm not getting what you're laying down. You want the phone? Oh, Mom needs the phone. There you go. The burner phone's gone, so don't send anything to the burner phone. She's not going to answer. We'll just distract her while she's driving, then she'll crash. Is it a job requirement? That piece of fluff is bugging me. It could be a job requirement for something if it was in the federal government, but she didn't work there, did she? Hopefully they have a remote for the fans. I think they do. I think it's just on an on-off switch. Either the fans are on or the fans are off, and right now they're on. Super intrigued in what Amber was saying about the things she knows that are not in evidence. I like to think that they're not in evidence yet. They might not come in, but if they don't come in, we won't hear them at all. I thought Mrs. Harari got her own phone. She does have her own phone. It's right here. It's not active. Why do you need this? Doesn't Mom need this? Mom needs it. Oh. Mrs. Harari is going out delivering cookies, and she needs not the fan. She needs the phone to navigate. If Mrs. Ari's phone is there, then where is Mrs. Ari? She is making plates of cookies in the other room. She's plating them with all the different styles of cookies. Bring on some DNA, says JT. We're ready for it. Buccal swabs are both done on May 9th, 2018. It seems definitely related to the Warhol art case. I just don't know why Anna was in on that. I'm confused just a tiny bit. Mrs. Ari has the burner phone. She does, so please don't call her. She does not need that distraction. Does Mrs. Ari need my address for the cookie delivery? Unfortunately, we're only delivering just local here around town, so apologize. Let's see. A couple minutes late, as we have been pretty much all day today. It is possible that here in the courtroom, off the record, we have additional proceedings going on using the defense team. Something about Brian Walshe stealing $1 million from his dad, having a bad relationship with him, then naming his first son for his dad. I know there was that they were not close, Brian and his dad. His dad left him nothing but his good wishes in his will, and then Brian basically sold off a bunch of stuff that belonged to his dad and almost sold off the property. And I'm not sure if that's going to get involved in this case at all, but I'm only 8 hours away. Bring the cookies. There goes my cookie request. Sorry about that. No, a little stubby. We should pack it with cookies. Is that what you're saying? You've been to Idaho. It's only a little further. My neighbor brought over new cookie sheets for me. That's a hint to hurry with my cookies. That's almost passive aggressive at that point. Why aren't the cookies here? Clearly, you don't have cookie sheets, so here are the cookie sheets. Get on it. Josh, I don't remember this. Can somebody get me a timestamp on that one? Josh was promised cookies. Maybe we can freeze them. Josh says I clipped it. Yeah. You edited it in AI, is that what you said? Can we see a picture of her cookies before she leaves? We left a little tray on, because here's what we do. Here's what my family does. We Christmas carol. We don't just give you the cookies in a run, right? We sing a Christmas song. And it's our own unique version of a Christmas song that we've sped up to make it really fast so we can get through a lot of them because we're on a time crunch. It's not that we don't love you. We just have to sing and go. Take the cookies. Bye. And so we do that, but we try to make it, nice, and we sing well and everything. But sometimes when we knock on the door, nobody's there, or for some reason or other, they just don't answer. Like there was one house where both their cars were there and there was no answer. And we knew they were there. We knew they were home, but no answer. I'm like, well, I can think of a number of reasons why I wouldn't want to answer the phone or answer the door. And so we took a picture and put it on their doorstep. Like not on their doorstep, but we put the cookies on they had a little porch table with little chairs. And we're like, hey, sent you the cookies. Hope you get them before the raccoon does. Something's like that. And then we drive down the road, turn around, and come back to get out because it's a one-way road. And the cookies are gone. They've already come out and grabbed the cookies. But they didn't open the door for us. Maybe they thought we were somebody else, didn't recognize us or something. But they grabbed the cookies pretty quick. So, too shy to answer the door for stuff like that. Police, open up. Just kidding. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Yeah, it's basically how it goes. Just beat on the door until they come down. What kind of cookies? We do 9 different types per plate. So it's got snickerdoodles and I think she's made pumpkin chocolate chip. Oh my goodness, there's so many. There's some sugar cookies that involve little Hershey Kisses. There are, I don't know, there's a lot.
You are unmuted.
The we. Yes. I'm claiming all of them. I personally did nothing.
All right, where are we, counsel?
Your Honor, we can either do the voir dire of Mr. Mutlu, or we could continue on with DNA and do summon Silam.
Well, if we go back, if we stay on DNA, which I'm happy to do, is that going to end the day, or we're going to hit Mr. Mutlu at some point today? Is he going to hit the stand at some point today?
I think DNA is going to go about another hour to 90 minutes. It could go 2 hours.
So I'm going to take it from that the answer is no.
It's possible, I guess is my answer. I know we don't like to hedge bets, but I'm going to hedge my bet on this one because I don't want to be shy a witness when we can still do work.
Well, in light of what you've told me about the schedule, I will be happy to let the jury go at 3:30 today.
Okay.
If that happens.
Okay.
And we are still on the same schedule.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, we are.
All right, well, we'll talk about that again at the end of the day.
Yes, Your Honor.
So what I'll say with regard to that is you're in a better position to evaluate how long a voir dire would take. I don't need the jury in the building while we're doing a voir dire.
Yes.
So I guess it would be my mild preference to just continue on where we are today, talking about DNA, and then tell the jury that they can come back later in the day, tomorrow, instead of a 9 a.m. start. Maybe we'll do a 10 a.m. start for them and do the voir dire of Mr. Mutlu in that time while the jury's on their own time and not on our time. How does that all sound?
That sounds like a very good idea, Your Honor. And I can tell you I have the keeper of records from Home Goods here just in case. And that would take about 20 minutes if we did end a little early.
All right. And how long, I won't hold you to it, but Mr. Mutlu's voir dire, as I understand it, and frankly had to remind myself through the pleadings what exactly it is we were voir diring him on. Now that I have reminded myself of what we're voir diring him on, how long do you anticipate, and I'll go to your brother in a second, but how long do you anticipate it will take you to present that evidence?
I think about 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the outside, Your Honor.
All right. I was thinking it was relatively short. More, I was checking to make sure that there wasn't a big disconnect between my expectations and what you're thinking. Do you agree, Attorney Tipton? Do you agree, Attorney Porges?
I do.
All right. So there's other matters we could handle in the morning tomorrow as well. Be prepared for those, including what I said to you at the side of the bench the other day with regard to the first 2 or 3 pages that I was looking for from you. Do you understand?
We do, Your Honor.
Attorney Tipton? Excellent. All right, we can bring the jury in.
Bringing the jury in. I'm not sure if it's good news or bad news, but we get some more DNA stuff today.
Hold them up for a minute. Not you.
Hold
them. I just don't want the Commonwealth not at their desk.
Thank you.
You're all set now. Thank you.
The ups and downs of Brian Walshe, now featured. We'll tell you that this last bit of the DNA testimony should be. We've got a lot of pieces of evidence to come in. So we might need somebody to keep notes of basically what the item was or where the swab was from and what the test came back. I can give you a quick cheat sheet. We've got Brian and Anna. Those are the main 2 profiles we're matching. And then we have a bunch of different places where blood was found. And we expect to find Brian and Anna and sometime Brian and Anna's blood in those places. Don't think anything in here is going to surprise any of us. We're not going to see heavy population or heavy DNA counts, high percentages of DNA from some unnamed third person in blood. Hopefully they don't refer to them by their phone numbers this time. Well, if they do, Brian is 6'6" and Anna is 4'6" on the last 2 numbers, right? So Proctor's had nothing to do with this trial. He actually has, Virginia. He was there one of the interviews, and he is subpoenaed by the defense to be a witness. He's been mentioned on the stand as well. His team was involved, and by association, so was he.
All rise for the court, please. Jurors entering. Court is back in session. You may be seated.
Commonwealth may call its next witness.
The Commonwealth would call Saman Salim. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give in the cause now in hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, I do. Thank you. You can be seated.
Right this way. Just watch your step.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury by stating your full name and spelling your name?
My name is Saman Salim, S-A-M-A-N. Last name is S-A-L-E-E-M.
And could you please tell us your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree from Boston College in biochemistry and a master's of science in forensic science from Boston University.
And what is your occupation, ma'am?
I currently work as a forensic scientist 3 at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab within the DNA unit.
And what is a forensic scientist 3?
A forensic scientist 3 is a supervisory position within the DNA unit, where I manage other analysts, forensic scientist 1 and 2, that work within the DNA unit.
So how many people do you supervise?
I supervise 6 people currently.
And what are your responsibilities in supervising those people?
As a supervisor, I manage their caseload by assigning them cases to work on in the laboratory, as well as for interpretation of DNA profiles for evidence items that are submitted to the DNA unit. I also train them in the methodologies for DNA testing. For example, if there's any new hires in our laboratory, I would be part of their training program where I would teach them about the laboratory work that's conducted, as well as give them presentations on the theoretical background of DNA testing. In addition to that, I also work on my own cases, so where I'm assigned cases by my manager, and I do the interpretation of DNA testing on those cases and review the cases of other people and what they've worked on.
And how long have you been employed at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab?
I've been there approximately 10 years.
Do you have any specialized training to be a DNA analyst?
When I first began at the DNA unit 10 years ago, I went through an 8-month-long training program where I learned about the theoretical discipline of forensic DNA testing, as well as the practical application of it. I tested mock evidence samples in the laboratory to determine what those DNA profiles were and learned about how to do that testing. Additionally, since that training, every year we go through continuing education where we learn about new methodologies that we're adopting in the laboratory and also any kind of changes that are happening in the field of forensic DNA analysis.
So you said that you've had testing, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
Have you had testing?
Yes.
And what kind of testing have you had?
So every time there's a new technology adopted or there's new training that I go through, at the end of that training, we do a competency test where we are tested on if we have understood that methodology by taking a written exam or oral exam as well as a practical exam in the laboratory. In addition to that, twice a year, we go through proficiency testing.
So have you passed the competency testing that you've taken?
Yes, I have.
And you said that twice a year you have proficiency testing. Who monitors that or provides that proficiency testing?
So the proficiency test samples are provided by an external agency, and those samples are tested in our laboratory as we would process any casework samples as well. And then the answers for those items of evidence, the DNA profiles we obtained, are submitted back to that external agency who will then grade us to ensure that we obtain the correct DNA profiles.
And have you passed that proficiency testing?
Yes, I've passed all the ones I've taken over the 10 years.
Thank you. Are you familiar with lab case 23-00596?
Yes, I am.
And what type of DNA testing was conducted in this case?
In this case, we conducted a type of testing known as STR DNA testing, which follows a 4-step process in the laboratory, at the end of which we obtain a DNA profile.
Okay. So just generally, can you discuss that 4-step process?
Generally, that 4-step process starts with extraction in the first step, where we break open the cells in which the DNA is found. This is similar to like cracking open an egg, where the DNA is found within the yolk of it, and we extract that DNA. We use heat and chemicals to do this. The second step is known as quantitation, where we determine how much DNA is present in that sample so that we can proceed with the next step. The next step is known as amplification. In that third step, we make millions and millions of copies of the DNA that is found there, targeting certain locations within the DNA. In this case, we target 26 locations that are found throughout the chromosome, as well as a sex-determining locus as well. And then the last step is capillary electrophoresis. During that step, we analyze those copies of DNA to generate a DNA profile, which can then be interpreted for comparison purposes.
And then once the raw data is generated, you said that you're able to make some comparison here?
Yes.
And how is that done, generally?
So generally, the first thing we would do is interpret the DNA profile, which means that we would observe that DNA profile to see what is in that DNA profile. So what are the different characteristics of the DNA that we're observing at these 26 locations that we have tested. We will determine how many individuals are in this mixture, so the number of people that make up this DNA profile. Is it coming from one person or multiple individuals? And then that profile, once we've determined what it is, we can compare it to a known standard or somebody whose DNA profile we know to see if they would be included in that sample or excluded from it.
And in this case, 23-00596, there were many items that were tested by multiple people in the lab for DNA testing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And all of those people did the four-step process. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what was your role here?
At the end of that four-step process, data is generated on a computer. At the end of that process, my role comes in at that point where I look at that data. So it comes off in a form that we have to interpret using a software program. So that's where my role starts, where I interpret that data.
So I'm now going to start to ask you about what you did here and about each individual piece of data that you looked at with each individual item that you looked at. Is that okay?
That's okay.
So let's start with the first round of testing and the first items that you looked at. I want to ask you about item 9-27.2.1. What is that item, ma'am?
Do you mind if I look at my notes?
You may look at your notes.
Thank you. That is a sample of an interior of dark gray slippers found in bag number 4 at 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
This DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 3 contributors, including male DNA.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
Yes. The DNA profile from this item is at least 270 million times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe and 2 unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown, unrelated individuals. This provides support for an inclusion of Anna Walshe to this profile.
So what does that mean?
So the statistic we report is known as a likelihood ratio. The first part of this is determining what the DNA profile is. In this case, the DNA profile is a mixture of 3 contributors, meaning that the profile that was observed on this item came from 3 individuals. In this profile, when we do a comparison, we compare the characteristics at each of these 26 locations to see if the profile that is Anna Walshe's profile matches those or is consistent with the ones that are observed in the DNA profile. And through the statistical analysis, what we learned is that it is at least 270 million times more likely to observe this DNA profile if it originated from Anna Walshe than if it did not, and 2 other individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown, unrelated individuals. The likelihood ratio is a statistical calculation that shows us how likely it is to observe a DNA profile given two propositions. One, that the person would be included in the DNA profile, or the other, that the person is excluded or not included in the DNA profile. And the value of that likelihood ratio can tell us which of these propositions is more likely to observe this DNA profile given either of these propositions.
So how do you calculate the likelihood ratio?
That is calculated using a software known as STRmix or StarMix. And in that software, we use calculations that we derive from the general population of how common or rare certain characteristics are at these 26 locations observed. And we use that in the general population in the US, and we use that information to calculate the likelihood ratio.
Can you explain when you said this was a mixture of 3 contributors?
So that just means that the DNA profile that we observed at these 26 locations, what I observed is that I would see DNA from multiple people, in this case 3 individuals. We receive half our DNA from our mother and half from our father. So we would expect to see for a single source profile or something coming from one person would either have one characteristic or two characteristics at each of these locations. In some of these locations, I saw 5 or 6 characteristics, which means that there's at least 3 people here in this mixture.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Yes. The DNA profile from this item is at least 12 quintillion times more likely if it originated from Brian Walshe and 2 unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown unrelated individuals. And this provides support for an inclusion.
What is a quintillion?
Quintillion is 1 followed by 18 zeros.
Can you tell when the DNA was contributed?
I cannot, to the testing that we do, we cannot determine when or how the DNA was deposited on an evidence item.
Does DNA have to be contributed at the same time?
No, it does not.
Moving to item 9-27.3.1. Can you tell me what that item is?
That was a sample from stain A on the exterior top left of the gray slipper, bag number 4 at 300 Forest Street.
And can you tell me what's the DNA profile result for this item?
This DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 2 contributors, including male DNA.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
Yes. The DNA profile from this item is at least 16 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe and an unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unknown unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion of Anna Walshe to this profile.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 77 times more likely if it originated from Brian Walshe and an unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unknown individuals, unknown unrelated individuals. 77? This provides limited support for an inclusion. Our DNA unit validation studies have shown that there is an inclusion of non-contributors in this range, likelihood ratio range of about 2 to 1,000. And adventitious support could be attributed to this conclusion.
That's the lowest
so
I've
what
ever
does
heard.
That mean?
77 times.
So when we
likely.
do these calculations for the likelihood ratio, we're relying on the DNA profile that we observed in that evidence item. The more data we have there, that means the more of these 26 locations where we observe this DNA profile, the higher the statistic will be for an inclusion. And that's because there's more support and more data observed. When there is limited support for an inclusion, it means that the data for that contributor in that mixture, so it doesn't mean everyone in that mixture had less DNA, just that one or more contributors had less DNA available there for comparison, so the statistic is lower because of it. In our validation studies, what we did see, because all humans do share some DNA with each other, that we would see some non-contributors, meaning that people who really shouldn't we made mixtures where we knew who was in those mixtures. And so we would have some non-contributors get a likelihood ratio that's inclusionary, show that they're included when they really shouldn't be included. And it's because they happen to have some alleles that are common with what was observed in the DNA profile. So in this case, for the statistic, even though there is support for an inclusion, that support is limited, meaning that there is less data available.
What is an anillion?
An anillion is 1 followed by 30 zeros.
What type of cells is DNA found in?
It is found in all kinds of biological cells that we have, such as our blood cells, which are our white blood cells, our hair cells, skin cells, saliva, anything we could have in our body that has a nucleus. Any cell that has a nucleus would have DNA in it.
And what of those is potentially found in a shoe?
From a shoe, it could be if there's a biological process that's deposited on there, that biological fluid could contribute DNA, or more typically for clothing and shoes, it would be from skin cells that are from wearing that shoe multiple times.
Do your results tell you what type of cells these came from?
No, they do not.
And do the individuals have to contribute the same type of cells?
No, they do not. One of the things that could cause a mixture of DNA profiles is if there's different types of cells from different individuals that are contributing to the same evidence item.
What is item 9-32.1.1?
That is a sample of an interior sleeve cuff of a Tyvek suit that was found in bag number 6 at 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
The DNA profile for this item was interpreted as a mixture of 3 contributors, including male DNA.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 4.8 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe and 2 unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Yes, the DNA profile from this item is at least 100 trillion times more likely if it originated from Brian Walshe and 2 unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion.
So when you say things like this provides support for an inclusion, is that standard language that you're using?
Yes.
And standard language for whom?
The standard language for forensic DNA analysis in general, and then at our laboratory, we've adopted this language as part of it. Many laboratories would use very similar language.
What is item 9-32.2.1?
Sample from stain A of the exterior left pant leg of the Tyvek suit from bag number 6 at 300 Forest Street.
And is this the same Tyvek suit that we just discussed previously in 9-32.1.1?
Yes.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
For this item, there was the DNA profile was a female DNA profile originating from a single contributor.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
Yes, the DNA profile is at least 30 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe than if it originated from an unknown, unrelated individual, and this provides support for an inclusion.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Brian Walshe is excluded from this single source female DNA profile.
What does that mean?
So the single source DNA profile is probably the easiest ones for us to do a comparison because we should be able to see if the single source profile we have from the evidence matches the one profile we have from our known standard or the reference we have. So when I say somebody's excluded, it means that the 2 profiles don't match each other.
What is item 9-32.5.1?
And that is a sample from stain D on the interior right sleeve of the Tyvek suit.
And is this the same Tyvek suit as discussed with items 3 and 4 that we previously discussed?
Yes.
But is this a different stain?
Yes.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
The DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 2 contributors, including male DNA.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 110 sextillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe and an unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unknown unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion.
And what is sextillion?
A sextillion is 1 followed by 21 zeros.
I'm sorry?
21 zeros.
Thank you. Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Yes, the DNA profile from this item is estimated to be 6 times more likely if it originated from 2 unrelated individuals than if it originated from Brian Walshe and an unknown individual. This provides limited support for an exclusion. Similar to before, the MSPCL DNA unit validation studies have shown that exclusions for the inverse likelihood ratio range of 2 to 1,000 have shown known contributors could be excluded, and adventitious support could be attributed to this conclusion.
So what is limited support for exclusion?
So it's very similar to the inclusion one I described in our validation studies. We also looked at profiles where since we knew who those mixtures were made of, those individuals, we would compare this to those individuals. And when there's limited data available, again, for comparison for one or more of the contributors in a mixture profile, the statistic would be lower, but it's on the exclusion side. And when it is a lower statistic on the exclusion side, we would like to report it as a number, just so we can be clear that there's a possibility that somebody who is truly meant to be in this mixture would be actually excluded from it because of there being limited data for support. So in this case, there is support for an exclusion, but there is only 6 times more likely for that support. The likelihood ratio is in that range of 2 to 1,000 again.
What is item 16-13.1?
This was an unknown tissue that recovered from the Swampscott dumpster.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
This was a female DNA profile originating from a single contributor.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 30 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe than if it originated from an unknown, unrelated individual, and this provides support for an inclusion.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Brian Walshe is excluded from this DNA profile.
So I want to move on now to the next round of DNA testing. What is item 5-1.1?
This is a sample from swabs of red-brown stain K on a basement floor in 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
This DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 2 contributors, including male DNA.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 15 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe and an unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unrelated individuals. And again, this provides support for inclusion of Anna Walshe to this DNA profile.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Brian Walshe is excluded from this DNA profile.
What is item 7-10.3.1?
This was a sample of stained area C on the blade of a hacksaw, placard number 8, 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
For this item, a female DNA profile was obtained originating from a single contributor.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 30 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe than if it originated from an unknown, unrelated individual, and this provides support for inclusion of Anna Walshe to this DNA profile.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Brian Walshe is excluded from this DNA profile.
What is item 7-10.4.1?
That is a sample of the handle of the hacksaw, placard number 8 at 300 4th Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
The female DNA profile was obtained originating from a single contributor.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 30 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe than from an unknown, unrelated individual, and this provides support that Anna Walshe is included in this DNA profile.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Brian Walshe is excluded from this DNA profile.
If I may have one moment, Your Honor.
You may.
That's interesting, though. The basement floor red-brown stain, they have Anna and one other male DNA profile, but Brian was not one of that. That could be, I mean, a child. They have sons, right? They've got 3 little boys. And obviously that basement could have all sorts of DNA from the kids. The whole house could have that DNA. I was expecting to find, when they say 2 contributors, I was expecting Anna and Brian there.
What is item 9-22.1.1?
That is sample from stain A on a white towel, number 1, with red-brown stains on it. That was found in bag number 2 at 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
There was a female DNA profile observed originating from a single contributor.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 30 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe than from an unknown, unrelated individual. This provides support for inclusion of Anna Walshe to this DNA profile.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Brian Walshe is excluded from this DNA profile.
What is item 9-28.1.1?
This was a sample of stained area A on apparent hairs found in bag number 4 at 300 Forest Street.
What was the DNA profile result for this item?
There was a female DNA profile observed on this item originating from a single contributor.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
The DNA profile is at least 30 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe than if it originated from an unknown, unrelated individual. This provides support for inclusion of Anna Walshe to this DNA profile.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Brian Walshe is excluded from this DNA profile.
What is item 9-31.1?
That is a sample from cutting of red-brown stain on a piece of rug from bag number 5 at 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
There was a female DNA profile observed originating from a single contributor.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 30 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walshe than if it originated from an unknown, unrelated individual. This provides support for inclusion of Anna Walshe to this DNA profile.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walshe?
Brian Walshe is excluded from this DNA profile.
Moving on to the third round of DNA testing. What is item 7-13.1?
It is a sample from area A on the head of a hatchet, placard number 8 at 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result from this item?
There was a female DNA profile observed originating from a single contributor.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walshe?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 33 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walsh than if it originated from an unknown, unrelated individual, and this provides support for an inclusion of Anna Walsh to this DNA profile.
Were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walsh?
Brian Walsh is excluded from this DNA profile.
What is item 7-13.2.1?
That is the sample from the handle of the hatchet, placard number 8 at 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
The DNA profile from this item was interpreted as a mixture of two contributors. Due to limited information available, contributor 2 was deemed not suitable for comparison purposes.
So, were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walsh?
Yes, the DNA profile from this item is at least 2.6 octillion times more likely if it originated from Anna Walsh and an unknown individual than if it originated from two unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion of Anna Walsh to this profile.
And what does it mean due to limited information? Contributor 2 is not suitable for comparison?
It just means that in this mixture DNA profile, the data that is observed for one of these two contributors is so low level that we would not be able to make a comparison to any known reference standards. So we test 26 locations. We require in our DNA processing that data must be observed at a minimum of 3 locations for us to be able to do any comparisons to it. In this case, data was observed at less than 3 locations for this second contributor.
And what is an octillion?
An octillion is 1 followed by 27 zeros.
And you said that you were able to provide support for Anna Walsh, but were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walsh?
Brian Walsh is excluded from the first contributor that's suitable for comparison in this DNA profile.
So what does that mean?
So since it's a mixture of 2 contributors and I can only compare one of the 2, that one contributor, the DNA profile shows that it's the likelihood ratio shows support for inclusion of Anna Walsh to this profile, but Brian Walsh is excluded from that suitable for comparison first contributor in this profile.
What was item 9-20.1?
That was sample from stain A on tape with apparent gauze with red-brown stains on it, found in bag number 2 at 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
There was a male DNA profile obtained on this item originating from a single contributor.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walsh?
Anna Walsh was excluded from this DNA profile.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walsh?
The DNA profile is at least 23 octillion times more likely if it originated from Brian Walsh than if it originated from an unknown, unrelated individual, and this provides support that Brian Walsh is included as a contributor to this DNA profile.
And what is an octillion?
An octillion is 1 followed by 27 zeros.
Were those the other slippers?
I might have one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
What was the last item? His slippers? It was tape or something. Okay, so we're going through items. Dark gray slippers had 3 contributors: Anna, Brian, and one other. Tyvek suit on the inside had Brian and Anna. Tyvek suit on the outside had Anna. Tissue sample was Anna. Basement floor stain, Anna and one other male, but not Brian.
Good afternoon.
Hacksaw handle, Anna. Hacksaw blade, Anna. White towel, Anna. Rug stain, Anna. Hatchet head, Anna. And the
I think you said it in your in some of your answers in regards to the first round of testing that you testified to. And was that testing, was the report issued on January 13th of 2023?
Yes, that's correct.
And in the context of some of your answers to the testing results that you told this jury about, for instance, sample 9-27.2.1 at paragraph 1 on page 2, you indicate that it was interpreted as a mixture of 3 contributors.
That's correct.
Now, as you were explaining that and some of the other conclusions and the results of testing, you used the phrase at least 3 people, correct?
That's correct.
So when you write this report and you include the phrase the DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 3 contributors, it's more accurate to say the DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of at least 3 contributors?
No, when we are doing our testing, we are using the information that we have in our profile. And in order to do any comparison analysis or further any kind of interpretation on it, we have to determine the number of contributors. So in this case, the data that I observed showed that there was 3 individuals in this. There could be more, but it's not in the data that I observed.
There could be more, though.
Yes, obviously the instrumentation we use, there could be contributors that are there that are not detected, but the ones that I observed, the profile showed a mixture of 3 contributors, which is how I interpreted this profile.
And when you interpret the number of mixtures, like you've just explained to the jury, am I right in saying that since we each inherit 1 allele from our father at a particular locus and 1 allele from our mother, then we typically have 2 different alleles at that one particular locus. Is that fair to say?
We could have 1 or 2 alleles at a locus, depends on if you inherit the same characteristic from both the mother and the father, or you inherit 2 different characteristics from the mother and the father.
And when you inherit the same allele, your father gives you the same allele as your mother, that would be a homozygote. That would be another way to frame that.
That's correct. That's a scientific term for that.
As opposed to 2 different alleles, your mother gave you 1 allele, your father gave you a different allele, then you'd be considered a heterozygote at that locus.
That's correct.
So what you're doing is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, what you're doing is you're looking at all the alleles that you have in front of you on a particular sample, and you're trying to determine how many, and once again, correct me if I'm wrong, you're trying to determine how many peaks you have at a particular locus. And for instance, if you had, 2 heterozygotes combined in a 2-part mixture, you would probably expect to see 4 different alleles there?
If we were looking at a mixture of 2 contributors, we would expect to see up 3 or 4 characteristics at the location. When we are looking at the DNA profile, he mentioned the word peaks. They kind of look like an EKG. If you can imagine like peaks and valleys on an EKG, that's what our data looks like. And so when we're looking at that, we are trying to just not only look at how many of those peaks are present, but what the level of each of those peaks is, because that can also tell us if it's coming from different individuals. So you would expect that if the same individual is contributing DNA to it at all of these 26 locations, they would contribute similar amounts of DNA at all the 26 locations. And so if we see some high peaks in one location and low peaks in a different one, that could also tell us that there is a mixture present as well. So not only looking at the number of peaks that are present, but also the level of these peaks.
And so there are some assumptions being made about the way you interpret the data.
The assumptions we're making is based in science that we inherit half our DNA from our mother and half our DNA from our father. So we expect to see 1 or 2 alleles or peaks at each of these locations. So we're using that information to then assess the profile to see how many contributors are in this profile.
And without complicating this too much, and I don't intend to do that, but there is observed in DNA testing data, not just at a particular allele, 1 allele if it's a homozygote, or 2 alleles if it's a heterozygote, but there's actually times when there's a triallelic allele, all right?
That's correct.
And so that's all I meant about the assumptions. And I understand they're scientifically based, but there are assumptions being made, correct?
Right. So if there is something like a triallelic pattern, there is a pattern to them, and we do know what those patterns look like. And what triallelic is that during the process, during the cell formation that happens, there's a mutation that occurs in the DNA that causes an extra copy to be present, either of either the allele from your mother, or the allele from your father, or a form of that allele. And that would cause, instead of seeing 1 or 2 peaks, we would see 3 peaks present for that person. But those usually have a pattern to them, and we can look at that, especially in single source profiles, and determine that. I did not observe any such things in the profiles that I saw in this testing that we did.
It's very clear, isn't it, that you have in a lot of these samples, if not most of these samples, you have concluded that a profile that was associated with Anna Walshe from a known sample, you could see the same profile in many of these samples, correct?
For any of the ones that were single source contributors, meaning there's only one person, that's where I can make that exact matching from the reference.
And then the ones that are mixtures?
The ones that are mixtures, those we would have to compare the whole profile as a whole. So it wouldn't always just be a matching of the 2 different peaks that we see. It would be a matching of looking at that plus the information we have on the levels of that contribution to see how likely it is to observe that profile if they were included in this mixture versus not included in this mixture.
Thank you. We appreciate your very clear answers. And what I would like to ask you now is something that you said early on direct examination. Your DNA testing and your results that you're reporting to this jury, it does not inform you of how a particular biological substance or a nuclear cell that resulted in the DNA profile, how it was deposited on that particular object that appears here in the reports, correct?
That's correct. We cannot determine how the DNA was deposited.
And if I were to tell you and suggest to you that for many of these items that were tested, if they were found combined with other items in a bag, and those other items came into contact with each other, you would agree with me that you can't tell this jury if the biological substance that was tested on one object might not have been transferred simply from another object that it came into contact with in that bag, correct?
Overruled.
That's correct. It could be transferred from one item to another item in a bag.
And would that transfer, that word you just used, would that transfer also occur if 2 items or more were placed in a single bag, and then that bag was actually compressed by a compactor that compressed that bag very tightly to reduce its size? Would it be even more likely that there would be a, quote, transfer between those 2 objects of biological material?
Objection to the hypotheticals? Rephrase your question.
Would transfer be more likely if 2 or more objects were placed in a bag, placed after that into a compactor, and compressed together where the items within that bag were compressed together?
Objection. Same question.
Same result.
If 2 items come into contact with each other, there's a possibility of transfer of biological material on those 2 items, correct?
That's correct.
And does the possibility of transfer between 2 items, would it increase if those items are pressed together tightly for a period of time?
I'm not sure if the chances would increase or decrease if they're pressed together, but if 2 items were to come in contact with each other, there would be a likely transfer of DNA.
So based on all of your conclusions based on all of your observations of the data and the results here, once again, you can't say how any of the biological material was deposited on any of these items, correct?
That's correct.
And you cannot tell the jury, and it's the limitation of the DNA testing, you can't tell when it was deposited, correct?
That's correct.
And for instance, if there is a particular object like a tool, let's say a hatchet, you cannot tell from your DNA testing if that hatchet actually ever came into contact with the biological material.
Objection.
I didn't finish, but maybe I'll start over again. Let me start over again.
Funny. Everyone's struggling with questions today. He's lost.
The DNA testing on a particular object does not tell you that that object was ever used against a person whose DNA profile appears on that object.
Objection.
Sustained.
He's trying to say that finding DNA on an object doesn't mean that object
Well, you
was in
have told
contact
us
with the
that
person.
The biological substance that was tested does not tell you anything about how that biological substance got on that item, correct?
That's correct. The DNA testing that we do cannot tell us how or when the DNA was deposited on an item.
And I think you told us this on direct, but I just want to make sure I understood it completely. The DNA testing that you conducted here on the biological samples, that can result, the DNA profile can result from any nucleated cell, correct?
That's correct.
And so we heard you refer to skin cells, correct?
That's correct.
And we heard you refer to blood cells, correct?
Yes, except for red blood cells, all other types of blood cells do have nucleuses.
Okay. And so when you are given samples to test, you do not determine in your laboratory, and you can't determine based on your DNA results, whether your DNA results are the result of a profile coming from a skin cell or a blood cell or some other nucleated cell, correct?
That's correct. We would not be able to determine the cell type from which that DNA profile was obtained.
And even though sometimes you might get a sample that's identified as a red-brown stain on an item, especially an item of clothing, even if you got a full profile from that particular stain, you still don't know if the profile you got came from epithelial cells or skin cells versus blood cells, correct?
That's correct. We would not know if it came from any blood cells that were present on that item or skin cells that might have been present on that item as well.
And on sample 7-13.2.1, I think that's the sample that you explained to the jury that it was a mixture of two contributors, correct?
That's correct.
And even though you concluded that it was a mixture of two contributors, you said that due to the limited information, the contributor two, and you put in, you actually referred to it as contributors, and you put the S at the end of contributor in parentheses, contributors, two is not suitable for comparison, correct?
So contributor is just, it's just one contributor. Contributor two is not suitable The reason there's a parentheses S there is because we use similar conclusions when we have multiple contributors that may not be suitable for comparison. The wording that we use, like I said, it's from our protocols that is designed to sort of kind of cover all different types of DNA profiles that we can see. So in similar conclusions can be written where we would say contributors 2 and 3 would not be suitable for comparison, which is why there is a parentheses S there. In this case, the only contributor that I'm talking about that is not suitable for comparison is contributor 2.
That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Would you look at that? We're at 3 o'clock. How about redirect?
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing.
You may step down.
We got
Thank you.
done a little earlier than expected. This was supposed to go 90 minutes. It only went an hour.
See you at the side of the bench.
Come to the sidebar, please. Drinks shall be served. Bring your own mug. Proffer. Send the jury home, do the proffer? That's what I'm thinking. Send the jury home, do the proffer. That gives us enough time to get that done. Jury won't waste the jury's time to get out early today. Then they can show up regular time tomorrow. That's my suggestion. Unless Mr. Mutlu has gone home already. We need the voir dire. Early day. I don't think we have any other witnesses other than Mutlu. It was quick and informative. Did help that we got all the monotonous parts of the DNA testing done with other people. Who was the proffer with? Mr. Mutlu, the gentleman who spent New Year's Eve with the Walshe family. Last person outside her own family to see her alive. What time is it there? We're on East Coast time, so it is 3:06 p.m. They normally go till about 4 o'clock, so we're just a teensy bit early. And we want to share the bullet points from the last witness. I missed her. Last witness was the DNA results. The dark gray slippers had DNA from 3 contributors, Anna, Brian, and 1 other male. The Tyvek suit on the inside had a sample that I believe contained DNA from Brian and Anna. The outside had DNA that contained a profile from Anna. The tissue sample matched Anna only. The basement floor stain matched Anna and another male, but not Brian. He was excluded. The hacksaw, Anna. The handle of the hacksaw, Anna. The white towel in the bag number 2 was Anna's blood. The apparent hair stain, the stain on the apparent hairs or something, that was Anna. The rug stain, Anna. Hatchet head, Anna. The tape gauze, Brian. If I missed a couple, let me know. But that I don't think the only surprise to me was the basement floor stain where Anna and 1 other male, but not Brian. We know that Brian had 2 injuries to his hand, right? That there were cutting injuries to a finger and a thumb, and so he cut his hand with a knife, presumably either in the attack of the murder, which I don't think happened because there was no blood splatter, right? Or in the dismembering process, he cut himself, and so there would have been some blending of evidence that way. Could have been left over from the boyfriend, right? Could have been boyfriend's DNA. Could have been could have been Jem Mutlu's. It could have been a lot of different things. It could have just been some random person at the store who happened to be looking at the Tyvek, looking at the tools or something. DNA can be picked up and transferred. But it seemed like that other profile was significant enough they could have made a match had they had something to test it against. Whatever happened to the 5 blue buckets? Not all of them were used. Some were left unused in the basement. It's like he overbought his murder supplies. It's a floor. All kinds of stuff can be on the floor, right? Could have been the dude at the checkout.
The Commonwealth may call its next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Commonwealth would call Michael Roddy.
Got another witness. Witness number 42.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that you give in the cause now in hearing to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you, sir.
Right this way.
Who, sir, are you, sir?
A little bit more. There you go.
No tie. I'm liking
Good
it.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Sure. It's Michael Roddy, R-O-D-D-Y.
And where do you work, sir?
I work for Home Goods.
And what do you do for Home Goods?
I'm a district loss prevention manager.
And can you tell us what is Home Goods?
It's the place you go when you want to buy stuff for your home.
Okay. So I take it by buying stuff for your home, it's a retail store.
It is.
Okay. Now, Home Goods, is it part of a larger corporation or umbrella of stores?
It is. It falls under TJX, which also has TJ Maxx, Marshalls, HomeSense, and Sierra.
And how long have you been with Home Goods, sir?
Home Goods itself, 9 years. TJX, 19.
And can you tell us about your responsibilities for Home Goods?
Sure. At the core, it's really protecting the assets of the company and the business.
The people.
And so, how many, do you have a geographic region that you're responsible for?
I do. I cover 11 locations.
And of those 11 locations, are you familiar with a location in Norwell?
I am.
What location does Home Goods have in Norwell?
It's store number 122 in Norwell. I believe it's on Washington Street, Washington.
And that store in Norwell, are there any other TJX properties in that same plaza?
There's TJ Maxx right next to it. Same plaza.
Now, sir, are you familiar with surveillance videos that were turned over by Home Goods in this matter?
I am.
And have you had the chance to review them prior to coming to court today?
I have.
Have they been altered in any way?
They have not.
Now, sir, Home Goods, does it maintain its surveillance videos in good faith?
It does.
And does it do so in the normal course of business?
It does.
And when it's surveillance videos, I take it they're recorded digitally, correct?
They are.
So when they're recorded, they're going to a server?
They do.
And who has access to the server of surveillance videos?
Myself, direct reports of mine, and home office loss prevention.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Mr. Roddy, do you recognize this thumb drive I'm showing you?
I do.
Did you have the opportunity to review the videos from this thumb drive?
I did.
And they have videos from the Norwell Home Goods store for January 2nd and January 4th.
Yes, they do.
The Commonwealth would seek to have this drive with the Home Goods surveillance videos for January 2nd and 4th marked as the next exhibit.
Any objection to that?
No.
I believe we're at 251. Is that correct, Madam Court Reporter? That thumb drive is now admitted into evidence. The Home Goods Norwell thumb drive.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, with the court's permission, could the Commonwealth publish videos from the drive?
Yes, you may.
So, Ms. Gilman, could we have the first video for January 2nd of entrance? And if you could pause right there, Ms. Gilman. Mr. Roddy, what is it that we're looking at here?
9:30.
This is the camera. It's a public view monitor. When you walk into the building, this is the one you can see yourself on.
Now, Mr. Roddy, the date and time at the bottom for Home Goods, are those accurate or are they off in any way?
No, those are accurate.
Ms. Gilman, if you could press play.
Accurate to the thousandth of a second. Nope, just the tenth of a second. Okay, see Brian on the outside, comes through the doors, saunters in, pulls up the sleeves. Let's get to work. Let's find ourselves some sales.
Ms. Gilman, could we have the second video register home? And Mr. Roddy, where is this in the store in Norwell?
So that is the front in our queue line. It's another public view monitor as you're walking towards the registers.
Cart full of stuff.
And when you say queue line, so are there items for sale in this line?
There are, yes.
Looks like there's some Christmas sales still going on. Pulls up the sleeves again, does some thinking. He's already got a couple rolls of something in his cart. Let's zoom in and take a closer gander. What's the slogan? Home Goods happy to be in where? Something? That's a lot of wrapping paper, sir. Rolls and rolls. New rug. Oh, it's a new rug. We're buying a rug. Because apparently we need one. What happened to our old one? Tell us, Brian.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could stop for the record, we're stopping at 1 minute and 16 seconds on the media player. And Ms. Gilman, could you go to the third video, Purchase Home?
Got a couple of runners and some rugs.
Mr. Roddy, where is this in the store?
That is the register. I believe it's register number 8, and it's a camera right above the registers behind them.
No self-checkout here. That looks like tape, maybe? I don't know what that is. Oh, he wants it wrapped. Can I have this wrapped, please? Probably a glassware. Oh. Scan that. Does HomeGood wrap everything you buy from them? Are they like the Christmas store? If so, I need to shop there. What's this? Oh, well, let's wrap that up too. Why not? We've got paper. Oh, they're candles. Just the breakable stuff. Okay. Just one sheet. You don't get any extra sheets. Wrap the candles. They must smell nice. Brian standing back. Looking for cameras. Nope, no cameras. Can't see any. He bought all the candles. This is gonna, at this point, it's a fire hazard. How many are you going to light? There's your candles. Nice. And what else do you have in your bag? Can I ring that up? Oh, yeah, just got these rugs here. Just thought it would be nice to buy a few, just some runners and some rugs. That's all. There's just this one right here. No blood on this one. It's clean. See? And I got 2 of those. And then, let's see. There's this big one. Can you just, yeah, there should be a tag. Can you see it? Oh, it's right there. Just let me just get close. Stop. Hold still. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. And let's see, your total would be whatever it is, and you're going to pay cash. Nice. No gloves. Big spender Brian drops the Benjamins. All right. He's got a card. He's got a Home Goods card. Like a gift card or something. He goes into the slot. I think he had a gift card. And then he's like, okay, now I've got another gift card or coupon. He's saving some money. Coupon's typed in. Okay, coupon's good. There you go. And done. All right, see ya. Brian takes his goods and leaves. Candles and rugs.
Ms. Gilman, if you could close out of that video and bring us to the 4th one. And pause if you could. Mr. Roddy, where is this in the Norwell store?
So that is an exit mullion. It's in the vestibule between both sets of doors to go outside.
A mullion.
Ms. Gilman, if you could press play, please.
This looks like a hidden camera if I've ever seen one. See how it's surrounded like this? Yeah. Whew. He's like, whew,
And
made it
Mr.
out.
Roddy, what is the time upon exit? If you need to see it again, we could just bring it back up.
Yes, please.
Ms. Gilman, if you could. What is the time upon exit for the record?
9:48 and 2 seconds.
And it's January 2nd?
January 2nd.
Your Honor, may the Commonwealth approach?
You may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Roddy, you recognize this document I'm handing to you?
I do.
What is this?
This is a receipt for a purchase on January 2nd.
Does Home Goods maintain its receipts in good faith?
It does.
Normal course of business?
Yes.
And I take it it's generated at the point that the sale occurs?
Correct, once it's completed.
And this was also turned over to law enforcement in January 2023?
It was.
The Commonwealth would seek to have the receipt from January 2nd the receipt from January 2nd at Home Goods as the next exhibit, Your Honor.
Any objection? The home goods receipt from January the 2nd is now in evidence as 252.
Your Honor, may the Commonwealth publish 252?
You may.
Thank you. Mr. Roddy, I have some questions about 252, Exhibit 252. At the top it says TGX. Is that generated internally or is that what's given to the customer?
That is internally.
And so the customer would get a Home Goods at the top?
It would say Home Goods, correct.
And store 280122, is that the Norwell store we were talking about?
Yes, that's the Norwell location.
And now, sir, what does POS 8 mean? POS 8?
That is register number 8, point of sale.
And then cashier, the number, and then there's a name underneath it. What is the significance of that?
The cashier number is the identifier to the associate who's ringing the register.
And sir, are you familiar with the codes with the S underneath them next to the items?
Yes, those are the department numbers.
What is the 35 significant of, S35?
Department 35 is our candle department.
And going further down, what is S75 significant of?
Those are rolled rugs.
What was the total for the sale, sir?
Total's $245.35.
And how was it transacted? Was it cash or charge?
It looks like 2 store value cards were used.
What are store value cards? And I'm sorry, I was interrupting you.
No, those are just, they're cards. They work just like a gift card would work. Same thing.
And if we could scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a date and time.
Yes, January 2nd, 2023, 9:44 and 36 seconds in the AM.
So keeping this up on the redemption area, you had mentioned there are store value cards?
Yes.
So with these store value card numbers, were you able to track down when these cards were issued and where?
Yes, we were.
Do tell.
You may.
Did he buy them just before he got there?
Mr. Roddy, I'm showing you a document. Do you recognize that?
Yes, it's another receipt.
It's another receipt, but is it from Home Goods in Norwell?
It is not. It's from Marshall's.
And this Marshall's receipt, what does it have to do with the store value cards?
So this looks like a return without a receipt at a Marshall's in Maryland. So when a return is done without a receipt, the customer receives a store value card, a store credit.
And on this receipt, does it denote the last 4 digits of the store value card?
It does.
And so, sir, understanding that, do they bear any similarity to the redemption cards used on your on this receipt that was done on January 2nd?
Yes, it does. On here, it shows the last 4 is 0256, which matched the purchase receipt.
And as a result of being a member of the TGX umbrella, are you able to get access to the Marshall's receipts to find out which card was issued in corresponding to the redemption that was done on January 2nd?
Yes, we can see each brand.
And this is the card that was issued, that was one of the 2 cards that was issued to do that redemption?
Correct.
The Commonwealth would seek to have this receipt from Marshall's as the next exhibit, Your Honor.
Any objection? The Marshall's receipt So is there a date on that so I can identify it for the record?
Yes, Your Honor. I apologize. The marshal's receipt, sir, before I get the date wrong, can you just...
It is December 28th, 2022.
Thank you.
Marshall's receipt from December 28th, 2022 is now in evidence as Exhibit 253.
Your Honor, may I publish Exhibit 253, the marshal's receipt from, it's labeled Baltimore receipts.
You may.
Thank you. Mr. Roddy, what's been marked as 253, where is the location of the marshals?
It shows it's in Baltimore, Maryland.
And this is the type of receipt a customer would receive, right? Because it doesn't have the TGX brand at the top?
Correct.
And what is the name of the customer?
Anna Walshe.
And could we scroll all the way down to the bottom? Pause. I'm sorry. So in there, there's issue of merchandise credit. Is that the card that you were speaking of?
It is.
Okay. And could we go all the way down to the bottom? And, sir, can you tell us what you see as far as a date and time for the receipt?
Yes, it's December 28th, 2022, and the time is 4:30 p.m.
So, sir, that was for one of the two cards ending in 0256. Were you able to find an additional receipt that corresponded to the second card?
Yes.
These are children's toys.
Before I go any further, did
returned.
that card end in 4563?
It did.
3 days after Christmas, a stack of children's toys returned to the store with no receipt. Were these toys other people bought for their kids?
Sir, do you see this document?
I do.
Is this a TGX receipt that corresponds to the issuance of the card we were just talking about as far as the second redemption card?
It does.
And again, these are kept in the normal course of business and in good faith?
Yes, they are.
The Commonwealth will seek to have this receipt marked as the next exhibit, Your Honor.
These were returned on the 28th. She was alive on the 28th. This is Anna returning them.
And can you tell me what type of store this is for? Since it's TGX at the top.
This one is TJX. That one I couldn't be positive about.
You can just tell me it's a TGX store, but you can't tell me the brand.
Exactly, correct.
But could I mark this as the TGX Washington D.C. receipt, Your Honor?
There's a date on that one?
Mr. Roddy, can you tell us if there's a date on this one?
There is. Also, it's December 28th, 2022.
Thank you.
Any objection? The Washington, D.C. TJX receipt 12/28/22 is in evidence as 254.
Your Honor, may I publish Exhibit 254, the Washington, D.C. receipt?
You may.
Thank you. Mr. Roddy, where is the location of this store that issued the card?
It is Washington, D.C.
And if we could scroll down, Ms. Gilman, how much was the card for? How much was issued as far as a card?
$216.44.
And what are the last four digits of the card?
4563.
And if we could continue to scroll down, where it says returned refund, is there a date as far as what is the December 2nd date that we're looking at opposed to a December 28th date?
The December 2nd date would be the date of the original purchase of the merchandise being refunded.
And so the date at the bottom, December 28th, is when the refund was actually issued?
Correct.
All right. Thank you. You can take that down, Ms. Gilman. Now, sir, you also had the opportunity to review videos from January 4th. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that is also what's already been marked into evidence. And at this point in time, Your Honor, I would seek to publish videos from January 4th, Norwell Home Goods Store.
Is that on the same thumb drive?
Same thumb drive, Your Honor.
251?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may publish it.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Gilman, could we have the first video for January 4th?
Is he struggling to come in? What's wrong? Standing outside the door? Oh, that was not him. That's somebody else. that door is closed. How embarrassing. Comes in, grabs the last cart. Flips the UE in confined space.
And pause, Ms. Gilman. Sir, Mr. Roddy, where is this in the store?
That is the public view monitor again at the entrance.
And looking at the bottom of the image, can you see a date and time?
I can.
Can you tell us what the date and time is?
It is 9:57 a.m. on January 4th, 2023.
Ms. Gilman, could we have the second video? Mr. Roddy, what view are we looking at here, sir?
This is another register view right behind the registers.
What do we have in our pockets? Towels. We need towels. Looks like a bathroom rug. Another bathroom rug. Swipe a card for this one. Swipe. Then use the gift card. Swipe. A lot of swiping on this one. And again, swipe. 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 Here, you try it. Wait, that worked. That worked. Okay. Here's your receipt. Have a great day. Bye. There's a lot of swipes.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. Can we go to the third video in that file? Mr. Roddy, what part of the store is this?
That is the exit mullion again in the vestibule between the two doors.
And if you could pause, Ms. Gilman. What is the date and time on the video? And for the record, we're at 7 seconds on the media player.
It is 10:07 a.m. on January 4th, 2023.
He seems you could quite press play, Ms. Gilman.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. Mr. Roddy, were you able to produce a receipt for this transaction?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Roddy, is this receipt also maintained the same way that the other Norwell Home Goods receipt is maintained?
Yes.
And does this receipt correspond to the transaction for that video?
It does.
And what is the date on this receipt?
January 4th, 2023.
And at the top, this says TZX, so is that an internally produced receipt opposed to what a customer would see?
It is.
The Commonwealth would seek to have this as the next exhibit, Your Honor, January 4th receipt from Norwell Home Goods.
Any objection? The receipt from 1/4/23 from the Norwell Home Goods is now in evidence as 255.
Your Honor, if I may publish 255, the January 4th receipt.
You may.
Thank you. Mr. Roddy, I have similar questions. Going down the receipt to the body of the goods purchased, what is the significance of 36?
36 is our towel department.
Linen.
And what is the significance of
Towels.
68?
68 is our bath mats or bath rugs.
And going down to the bottom of the receipt, sir, how is this transaction negotiated?
It looks like there was 2 SVCs, 2 credits used.
And was one of them the 4563 that you previously testified about?
It is.
And going down to the bottom of the, is there a date and time on the receipt?
There is January 4th, 2023 at 10:05 a.m.
And you said there was a second SVC card. Were you able to find the receipt or the transaction for that in the TGX systems that issued that second card ending in 4481?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Thank you.
I'm a little confused about these
Mr.
gift
Rodney, do you
returns.
recognize this receipt?
I do.
Is this from a Marshall store?
It is.
And does this receipt show the issuance of the card that you just mentioned, the second card used to transact the sale?
Yes, it does.
And what was the date that this transaction occurred that issued the card?
28th.
It was December 8th, 2022.
And where was the store, where was the Marshalls located?
Hingham, Mass.
The Commonwealth would seek to have the Hingham Marshalls December, what was the date again, sir?
12/8/22. Any objection? The 12/8/22 Marshall's receipt is in evidence as 256.
Let's see it. What was returned on the
You may.
Thank you.
early December?
Sir, looking at this, what is the address for the Marshalls?
400 Lincoln Street in Hingham, Massachusetts.
And the initial transaction date is what, sir?
The original was December 2nd, 2022.
Men's best bra.
And going down, sir, what is the first, understanding this is not your store, so you don't know 23s, next to the item, what is the description of the item that was purchased?
Men's best brand.
And then the second item that was purchased?
Children's toys.
Now, sir, going down, if we could, amount due to customer is what, sir?
$155.91.
And there is a merchandise credit number ending in what, sir?
4481.
And going down, sir, going down, Ms. Gilman, all the way to the bottom, the date for it is what, sir?
December 8th, 2022.
Okay, December 8th. I'm sorry, I might have heard you as December 28th, my bad. Now, sir, on this receipt, is there a name for the customer?
If we go up. So on this one, it is a return with receipt where we don't need ID to process those.
So there's no customer name at the top like there was in the prior ones?
There is not.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Any
Defense?
cross?
Yes, thank you, Judge.
Right ahead.
Questions? Regarding these
we'll get back here.
Cards, the last couple of cards you just told the jury about. So am I right to just say that, or to suggest that there was some purchases made in or around the Maryland, D.C. area at some point in December?
Yes, I'd have to see it again. I'm not sure if it was a purchase or a return.
Okay, purchase or return. There was a transaction.
Yes.
And then whoever transacted that transaction, it's not a very good way to put it, but whoever did that.
The transactionist?
They eventually got some store credit that was applied to that card, right?
Correct.
And then they walk out of the store with that card, right?
Correct.
And then that card, of course, finds its way down to Massachusetts, and that card is eventually used in Massachusetts sometime around January of 2023, correct?
Correct.
Nothing unusual about that if a family is trading cards back and forth, correct?
Correct.
Did the Commonwealth, the state of Massachusetts here, did they ever ask you to try to get video of those transactions that occurred in December, for instance, from those Washington area?
From myself, it wasn't home goods, so not from myself. If it was from a Marshall's or TJ's district loss prevention manager, I'm unsure.
That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down.
All right.
Thank you.
Candles, towels, rugs. What else did he get? Candles, towels, rugs, and
We're going to suspend there for today. I thank you for your work today. I bring you some updates with regard to the schedule. Tomorrow, I'm going to have you return to the courtroom an hour later because I don't want you waiting around for me. I need to attend to other matters that don't require your attention, and so I don't want you waiting around for me to be cleared. So you get a little extra time for yourself tomorrow morning. Be here for a 10 a.m. start. I expect, although I don't really know for sure, but based on what I now know, I expect that we may finish the evidence tomorrow early. So you may have a shortened day tomorrow. I just tell you these things to keep you as best informed so things don't come as a surprise to you. They happen that way. Right?
that doesn't mean they're going to rest.
The
That just means we might not have any witnesses.
I wish for you all a good night. And while you're having a good night, I remind you of your responsibilities, those orders. Don't do any research about this case. Don't speak to anyone about the case. Don't go on any social media or any news media of any kind. And continue to have open minds as you listen to the evidence in this case. Have a good night. See you back here at 10.
All rise for the jury. Juries, leave your notebooks. Follow me.
Follow me.
Right. So it's 3:41, about 19 minutes early here today. Good use of court time, aside from the long delays in sidebars this morning. Those do not help us at all, although it might have helped the case. Any business to conduct here? Your Honor, are we going to talk about some stuff? I think we should. Let's talk about things before we end for the day. Not sidebar, not sidebar, please not sidebar. She's in her about to leave position.
I don't have anything other than what we've discussed previously about your responsibilities of getting things to me. Other than that, I have nothing on my radar for tonight, anyway, before we suspend tonight. Does anyone need to discuss anything else?
Not from the Commonwealth, Your Honor. Not at this time.
All right. Well, all of you have a good night.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Goodbye.
You are my only fan. We need a song about the fan. We really do. All right. That concludes trial for the day. Looks like Mr. Mutlu is going to be first thing in the morning. And we probably have that voir dire before the jury gets here that we get to watch, and then we get to see how spicy it gets and see what's allowed and what isn't, and then roll it back, rack it up, and do it again with the jury present starting at 10 o'clock. We're going to start at the regular time tomorrow. We have a song about the OnlyFans. We do have an OnlyFans song? Where's our OnlyFans? Let me look. We have an OnlyFans song. Hey, hello. How you doing? You going to talk? I'll turn your mic on. Do you want to hear? Did you give away all our cookies?
I gave away some. It was a lot of fun because the people I gave them away to weren't really expecting it. In fact, one of the people, he was so funny. He was like, why are you giving this to me? And I said, well, did nobody tell you Christmas is coming? And he was like, okay, but like, why are you doing this? He was so surprised. So it was good. It was a good time.
That is awesome. That's really cool. We're looking for a song about OnlyFans. I mean, our only fan. Oh, we have Grandpa's OnlyFan. Is that the one you're talking about?
I wasn't talking about anything.
They say we have a... Let's see. I said we need to make a song about OnlyFans. Yeah. I think... This is the only one I've got.
Maybe...
We have to be very careful about it, how it makes a song. But we do have a song. We'll end on a song because we've got a couple of minutes. And Mrs. R.A. is back, and I'm super excited about that. But let's give it a quick listen. It doesn't work. Hang on. Where are we sending our audio to? Our Roadcaster.
I don't know, but without headphones, I can't hear anything.
It works just fine. I just need to have the volume up for it, apparently. Apparently the volume control is crucial. Let's give it a try. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Old man Joe just turned 74. Found a website, thought it was for more. Sharing stories about his younger days. Cooking breakfast in his own kind of ways. Signed up quick, put his pictures on. Fishing trips and mowing the lawn. Didn't know what it was all about. Just sharing life with no second doubts. Grandpa's OnlyFans, spreading love worldwide. Folks tuning in can't put their phones aside. He's gone viral, making money with grace, unaware he's in a different space. Neighbors whisper what they say ain't kind, but Joe keeps on. He don't seem to mind. He's buying tractors, fixing up his place with the earnings from his newfound fame. He reads their comments, laughs out loud. Grandpa Joe, you make us proud. Still oblivious to the site's true start, sharing his life straight from the heart. He brings his grandkids on for a morning chat, shows them how to fix an old straw hat. They think it's funny, but they don't tell. Just let Grandpa's stories ring like a bell.
There you go.
That's going to be me.
Grandpa's OnlyFans.
I'm pretty consistently doing things that other people are like,
That's not how it works. Anyway, we'll have to make another fan song just about the fan, like the actual fan. That's what I'm thinking. So
sweet.
At times, but if you're in Boston or in really southern New England.
We just got the weather for Boston and southern New England, which is great. And not good. Not good.
It's just actually bad.
It's bad. Terrible news. Terrible news. It's going to be freezing cold and weather front coming in.
We had almost snow last night. Our kids were so hopeful.
It snowed last night. It just didn't land on the ground. It like fell down and melted just above the grass.
It was like really heavy fog, and it was pretty. And oh wow, our kids were super duper excited. And we woke up in the morning. They actually canceled school in anticipation of the snow.
To be fair, we cancel school in anticipation of anything.
which doesn't affect us very much, but a little bit. Our kids do a very early morning class, and so that one got canceled, and they did not have to go.
Hopefully, it's got a call. Just lost it. Hippie Mimi, welcome to the gallery. We are. I'm debating what we're going to do next. I have 3 memory cards full of Judge Simpson's conclusion to the landlord case, which was a long conclusion. And then when it's over, it actually wasn't over, and he came back and did more. Like he made his final ruling, then came back and made his other final ruling. There's a lot. There's a lot to it.
It's like, let's talk, guys. We need to keep talking.
He doesn't like this case very much. This is not one he likes. Okay, hold on. I think I've got Angela on the phone.
Call from Angela.
Hey, Angela. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Full disclosure, I have not watched today because I am on my trip. I'm currently in Switzerland. I just wanted to say hi.
Picking up chocolates for our Christmas present?
Angela, you shouldn't have.
And cheese.
That's awesome. Enjoy your trip. I think today's mostly DNA. I'll tell you that. We got a lot, and unfortunately it was chain of custody DNA. So we had a lot of witnesses that told us all about their background and their degree and how long they've worked there and what they do, and then didn't really get the final result. They're just like, and I was one of the people that handled it, and I was one of the people that handled it, and I got it ready for the next person, and then I passed it up to somebody else. We had like 10 of them. The entire Massachusetts State Crime Lab DNA team came in and got to just sit there and talk a little bit, but really gave us nothing. So it was a little frustrating.
So I did not miss a lot.
You didn't miss a lot. Let's see. We actually had a ton of witnesses. We had Bryce Raymond, who was the MA Crime Lab. He talked about DNA a little bit. Then we went to Brianna Kiesel DNA, Madison Frank DNA, Troy Adams DNA, Emily Oliver DNA, Mary Nagel DNA, Jolie Bregu DNA, Karen Jacobson DNA, Katrina Station DNA, and then we finally got the guy who gave us the results. So
hang on, all of them were just like DNA was present?
I took the bag and I took the DNA sample and I put it in the machine in the robot and I got it ready for the next person. That was all we got. I got it ready. It's a 4-step process. I did step 1 and 3. Someone else did 2 and 4. And then the 5th guy is the guy who gives us the answers we need.
Wow.
So there was a lot of that. We did have a little bit of, I think Matthew Sheehan continued. He was the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab criminalist who collected DNA at the crime scene. But other than that, Michael wrote at the end a little bit of Home Goods video, which I recommend you do watch. But the gist of what happened was Anna's DNA was found pretty much everywhere you would expect it to be found. And Brian's DNA was found.
Wait a minute, if there was a crime or just because she lived there?
Well, the red-brown stains were almost always Anna's. I say Anna, and it's Anna. The Tyvek suit, there was Brian and Anna inside as far as DNA match profiles. Outside, Anna. The tissue sample was Anna. Basement floor stain was Anna and another male, but not Brian. Brian was excluded there. The hacksaw, Anna, on both the handle and on the blade.
Oh, man.
The white towel, the blood on the white towel was Anna. Apparent hair stain, something, Anna. Rug stain, Anna. Hatchet head, Anna. And then the tape gauze was Brian's. And so that's probably, the tape gauze was most likely what he tried to wrap his fingers up with when he did cut his hand. He had those 2 cuts. So that's probably where that came from. But,
yeah.
Thank you for summarizing the whole day.
Not a problem.
Me.
I saved you all this time. Now you can just focus on buying us the chocolate and enjoy your trip.
Chocolate, cheese, and since I'm in Geneva, lots of good wine. So, yeah.
So when you call us next time, you might be a little more talkative. Is that what you're saying?
Well, full disclosure, I did have a glass of wine and grape liquor, which is something which is, it is something that is like local to here. They do it homemade. Well, I may also be able to buy it in the store, but this is like homemade liquor.
Fascinating.
That's cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
I also found out something interesting, which I will joke to my. I am here for a wedding, for a family member's wedding. So,
nice.
yeah. So I took because of what I found, which is, let's just say it is legal in Colorado, maybe Florida,
Weed.
and
Weed.
definitely, yeah.
Amsterdam. Yeah.
Yeah,
Weed.
It is apparently legal here in Switzerland as well. So I joked about, maybe I should move to Switzerland. What's the process?
They accept transfers. Yeah, this is interesting. It poses problems for people who travel back to areas where it's not legal, and if any drug test is involved, it's like, well, I was obeying the law there, but breaking the law here. Yeah.
And I am not saying that because I would do that as a hobby. I'm very interested in doing it as a medical help.
Right. I hear you. I
am.
So cataracts, right?
No.
So, just kidding.
No, but I am not kidding. I have seen second and third hand how it helps. So that's why I am all for it in regards to medical. Yeah. Otherwise,
I've heard remarkable things about it actually for people who are experiencing symptoms involved with seizures, with cancers, things like that. There are definitely some medical properties that should be explored there, I think, especially in some of these illnesses where the suffering level is so high, right? I have bad eyesight, but that's not something you suffer from. But where you have high pain, just nerve issues, things like that, something's working, and we need somebody in the medical side to look at that. And
I don't know why it's such an issue. Like look at everything that works. Why are we?
Well, we protect the pharmacies. You know, the big
pharma
has their strangle grip around the pain meds. So anyway, good stuff.
I mean,
not good stuff.
Sweden, when it comes to driver license and driving in general, they're very stricted, even with chronic illnesses. If you have any kind of chronic illness, you kind of need doctors know that you're okay to drive. Mm-hmm. So I guess if it would be illegal in Sweden, it would only be in medical for medical reasons, and then during that time, your driver license would be revoked. Yeah. I guess, but yeah. But you know what's funny? It is not legal in France, and I'm in Geneva, and you can cross into France there is no border control. You know, you can just cross into France, which, by the way, I was kind of in France today a little bit because the airport where I landed, it's partially in France, partially in Switzerland. So I was for maybe 10, 15 minutes in France, you know, and
not long enough to get your passport stamped. So.
That's another thing. They did not check my passport. My passport was like just a souvenir travel, you know, just like a souvenir to go with me. It would just go. Seriously, they did not check my passport. Not even in Denmark. Not even here. So yeah.
This is breaking all my gun model things.
Well, that's cool. That sounds like fun.
What's fun?
Going to Switzerland and being in France, and that sounds cool.
Yeah, So and my cousin who so you can actually go to France from France to Switzerland, the part of the airport by the tunnel. No one will check you, and on one side it's illegal, on the other side it's illegal.
Yeah,
but
you can smoke weed in this lobby, but not in that one.
Not that one. Yeah,
that's funny.
But actually, I am actually calling the reason to not take the line for too long. I am actually calling to retract something I said the last time I called.
Oh, retractions! Those are great. We always put those in the end of the show so nobody sees them. Go ahead.
I was misunderstood. I had wrong information. So it's not all my fault, and this is partially due to media blockage. So number one, Anna's mother is not in court. She's not even in the U.S.
Okay.
And that has been confirmed. she may, if he is convicted, I don't know, she may travel to the U.S. for the sentencing part.
Yeah.
That's a maybe. So, and then regarding the children, there may have been back and forth on who's going to take care of the children. But this is the only information out there. Anna's mother has taken custody of the children. They live in Serbia.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought they were in state custody. That is news to me.
Yeah. And that's the only news because due to court's decision, any other information regarding the children are not public information. And that is not the U.S. decision, that is Serbia court's decision.
So she has the rights to the children, or she physically has the children?
She has physically children. They live in Serbia.
Wow. I do think that is great. But what a change. What a change. They were 6 years and younger at the time, 9 years and younger now. It's remarkable when you've got a family instance like this in the court where children are involved and the state's determining custody, or the state's involved in the custody dispute, that they end up in a foreign country. That is rare, but that's amazing. That's very cool. I had a live stream with Ada on Sunday, and that's where I found out. I didn't know about that. She found that it was a work between Serbian courts and U.S. courts to make that transition as smooth as possible, and she took over the custody of the children. Graham's mother did try to get custody of the children. She was, of course, stopped by the courts because at the time she was under suspicion also. Yeah, she was looked at for sure. That's interesting. It's a collaborative effort. That's amazing. It's always good when the powers that be work together to get something good done in the interest of the children. That is actually in the interest of the children.
Yes.
Fascinating.
So, and all the property in the D.C., someone mentioned that there is a property on sale. It is Anna's sister who is handling that sale, and she's handling all other properties that is under Anna's name. I think it just took a while to just figure everything out because she lives in Canada, and it's much closer for her to go back and forth and handle everything.
Yeah.
Than mother to come back and forth.
For sure.
Especially but children still has U.S. citizenship. They have double citizenship. They have automatic right to Serbian citizenship because their mother is Serbian.
That probably had a big part to play in the decision as well, with dual citizenship.
Yeah. And I think that came in later. The dual citizenship. I don't know how it went, but I know that the grandma petitioned the custody. She got it. Then the process started, and somewhere along the way, they got the citizenship. What came first, second, and third, I don't know. The last is that they are in Serbia right now and living there.
That is fantastic news. I appreciate the update. We're going to wrap things up on that. I know we've got the Judge Simpson thing to watch today, but I think we're going to watch it tomorrow because the judge has told us it's going to be an early day. So it looks like we're going to have time tomorrow, and I've got to put it together because it's in 3 or 4 different files. But Angela, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Good talking with you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Awesome. We'll see you later. Bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.
All right, Jen.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in. Thanks for playing with everything on my desk and breaking it all.
You have a lot of stuff on your desk.
I do. And some of it is dusty, and you noticed that as well.
Yeah. I think there may be more stuff right just here on your desk than there is in our front room.
There's a lot. All right, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. I love you. We'll give you a hug.
Oh, thanks.
Smile at someone to make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again tomorrow morning, 8:45. We're going to continue court. We should have a voir dire first thing in the morning. That will be interesting. You don't want to miss that. So be early for that. We'll also sing happy birthday and everything else before court starts. So be there and join us with that. Ring your voice out with ours to celebrate those who are celebrating their special day. And I think that's it. Just be good to each other. Be nice. Merry Christmas. Use the birthday form. That's all. And mods, you're amazing. Thank you all. We'll see you soon. All right. Bye, oh, it's hump day as well. Okay, so there's an official warning. If you're listening on headphones, tomorrow might not be the day to listen on headphones. It is the hump day. I'll give it my best. I will give it my best, which might be the worst for you, but...
If anything makes it so that you cannot do this job anymore, it's going to be that hump day yell. You're going to blow out your voice.
All right. With that, you guys have a great day. We will see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
What more do you need to see?